Imagine looking up and seeing the moon split in two. It sounds like science fiction, but what if it really happened? This cosmic event could reshape our tides, the night sky, and life as we know it, bringing changes to Earth in unimaginable ways. Let's start with what could cause the moon to split. Though it seems like an improbable event, such an occurrence isn't entirely unimaginable. Picture a massive asteroid hurtling through space, suddenly colliding with the moon. The impact is so intense that it cracks the moon down the middle, like an orange struck by a hammer. Now, the question arises, would it split neatly in two or shatter into countless pieces? It's likely that the moon wouldn't break into perfect halves. Instead, debris and fragments would fly off in all directions, creating a chaotic scene in space. And while it's a hypothetical scenario, our solar system already has examples of such cosmic collisions. For instance, asteroids have shattered upon impact, and moons around other planets like Jupiter and Saturn bear scars of violent impacts that nearly tore them apart. However, the possibility of a gradual fracture forming over time due to intense seismic activity or other cosmic forces remains too. Imagine cracks spreading across the moon's surface like a crack in a windshield. Slow, inevitable, and deeply unsettling. But let's say the moon does split. What does this mean for Earth's gravitational balance? The moon isn't just a distant rock in the sky. It plays a vital role in stabilizing Earth's rotation and axial tilt. Without the moon's gravitational pull, Earth would wobble more on its axis, leading to unpredictable and possibly extreme shifts in climate. Currently, the moon's pull helps to keep our planet's tilt steady, which is why we have consistent seasons. But with two smaller moons or fragments orbiting Earth, the gravitational balance could change drastically. This new configuration might mean that Earth's rotation becomes erratic, leading to a wobble effect that would throw seasonal cycles into disarray. Imagine winter suddenly stretching longer, or summer becoming unbearably intense. For a world built around the predictability of seasons, this would spell chaos for agriculture, natural habitats, and human civilization. Another major consequence would be on Earth's tides. Right now, the moon's gravitational pull is responsible for the ebb and flow of ocean tides. But if the moon were to split, tides would become far more unpredictable. Imagine two lunar fragments in the sky, each exerting its gravitational pull on Earth's oceans. Instead of a single tidal bulge moving predictably around the globe, there could be multiple smaller tidal bulges that interact with each other in chaotic ways. Coastal communities that rely on regular tides would be thrown into turmoil. Fishing schedules, which have been built around the consistency of tidal patterns, would become unreliable. And ancient societies that placed cultural and religious significance on the regularity of the tides would face a shocking new reality. Coastal ecosystems would also suffer. Species like crabs and sea turtles, which depend on predictable tides for breeding, would face increased risks. Turtles, for example, rely on the tide to carry their young safely into the sea. With tides now erratic, young turtles could be left exposed on the beach, easy prey for predators. The intricate dance between the moon and the sea, a rhythm that has shaped life on Earth for millions of years, would be thrown off balance. And what about the animals that rely on the moon's light to navigate? Many species have evolved in tune with the lunar cycle. Using moonlight as a guide, sea turtles, migratory birds, and even some insects depend on the moon to orient themselves. There were now two moons, or if the fragments scattered moonlight differently, these creatures would struggle to adapt. It would be like changing the clock every night for them. Animals that rely on timing could find themselves lost or unable to follow their natural patterns. And the disruption wouldn't be limited to animals. Plants too could be affected. Some photosensitive plants that bloom or close in response to moonlight might find their cycles disrupted. Imagine a world where whole ecosystems, delicately balanced over eons, are thrown into disarray. A ripple effect would travel up the food chain, impacting everything from plants to predators at the top. Now consider the night sky itself. If the moon were split in two, the side above would be hauntingly beautiful and eerily unfamiliar. Instead of one full round moon, imagine two half moons, or more likely, fragments of different sizes glowing in the night sky. Depending on how far apart the fragments drift, some parts of the world might see different phases of each fragment. For instance, one region might witness a new moon phase on one fragment while another area sees a half moon on the other fragment. The combined luminosity might not simply double the moonlight, as one might think. It would depend on the size, orbit, and reflectiveness of each piece. Nights might be slightly dimmer or brighter depending on how these fragments settle. Some nights could be darker, casting shadows that make the landscape feel alien, while others might be flooded with a surreal fractured glow. The moonlight that once seemed so steady and reliable would become an eerie reminder of the fractured satellite above. One terrifying possibility, however, would be the potential for lunar debris to reach Earth. If the moon shatters rather than splitting neatly in two, some fragments could be ejected towards our planet. Though Earth's atmosphere acts as a shield, preventing smaller meteor-like objects from reaching the surface, larger chunks could pose a serious threat. Imagine a scenario similar to the meteor impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. Even small fragments could have catastrophic impacts if they were large enough to breach the atmosphere. For comparison, the Chicxulub impactor, which targeted a mass extinction event 66 million years ago, was about 10 kilometers wide. If pieces of the moon on this scale struck Earth, the devastation would be unimaginable. In this cosmic game of Russian roulette, Earth's inhabitants would live under the constant threat of a deadly impact, forever watching the skies with a new sense of fear. Faced with this fractured moon, humanity would surely respond. Scientists and space agencies around the world would race to understand the new gravitational dynamics. Governments might launch missions to study the moon's fragments, hoping to predict and possibly prevent further impacts on Earth. Space agencies like NASA and ESA could deploy satellites to monitor the pieces and provide early warnings if any debris appear to be on the collision course. It's possible that humanity's ingenuity would lead to new advances in space exploration. Perhaps a Save the Moon mission would be launched, with international cooperations at an unprecedented level. For many, this event could even reignite the drive for space exploration, pushing humanity to look beyond Earth in search of a new home. The split moon might serve as a harsh reminder of the fragile nature of our planetary environment, inspiring an era of heightened interest in space travel and planetary defense. The long-term effects of a split moon would extend far beyond human efforts to adapt. The moon plays a critical role in stabilizing Earth's climate. Without a stable lunar influence, Earth's climate could undergo drastic changes over centuries. The fractured gravitational pull might cause Earth to experience a wobble, where its axis tilts unpredictably. This instability would lead to extreme weather patterns, with some regions facing sudden shifts in temperature or unprecedented storms. Winters could become harsher, summers more intense, and regions that once enjoyed stable climates could become nearly inhabitable. If exploring the mysteries of the universe excites you, hit that like button and subscribe. From cosmic wonders to unimaginable what-if scenarios,